All right, good evening, folks. This is a not regular meeting, but a special meeting for the Planning and Zoning Commission agenda for September 5th. We are at the City Council Chambers in Kennedale, Texas. It is now 6:03. First item on the agenda, we're going to do a call to order, which is the roll call, ma'am. Madam Secretary, go ahead.
Chair Brown,
Present.
Vice Chair Malakowski,
Here.
Place 3 Guao,
Present.
Place 4 Favela,
Here.
Place 5 Martinez.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Appreciate you. All right, so second item is going to be public comment. The Planning and Zoning Commission welcomes all comments from the public. Those wishing to speak must sign in prior to, or if you decide to stand up at this point, sign in to the meeting. Speakers may be speaking on any topic, whether the agenda or not. The Planning and Zoning Commission cannot act upon or discuss issues raised or make any decisions at this time. Speakers under citizens' comments shall observe a 3-minute time limit. Inquiries regarding these matters not listed on the agenda may be referred to staff for research and/or possible future action by the board. At this time, is there anybody that would like to open the floor for public speaking?
Sir, I don't have anyone signed up for public comment at this time.
All right, thank you, Madam Secretary. Appreciate you. Move right on into regular session at this time. Item A is a consent agenda. One item on that is going to be the approval for minutes from the July 25th, 2024 regular meeting. Everybody have a copy of those? Is there any discussion from the board? Good? All right. Can I get a motion to go ahead and accept those meetings, the minutes?
A motion we approve.
Second motion, please.
I second the motion.
All right, all in favor? Madam Secretary, we have a unanimous favor to adopt the minutes at this time and accept them. All right, right on into items for individual consideration, discussion, and/or actions. That is going to be nothing on there, so we're going to look right into item C, public hearings. First one is going to be PZ case 2411, to conduct a public hearing and consider a proposed zoning change from AG, which is agricultural district, to a PD plan development for lot 7A, lot 7B1, lot 6A1, lot 6C1 of estates. Jim Home Tracks addition located at 1102, 1106, 1108, and 1110 Kennedale Sublette Road, and approximately 3.06 acres of Block 1, Lot 11A and 11B of the Oliver Acres subdivision located at 305 College Sublette Road, Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 76060. Any discussion at this time, sir?
Good evening, Planning and Zoning Commission. Good to be with you. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedules to have this special meeting called. This particular item, you'll notice, is a little bit of deja vu from the last meeting that we had, and that is a result of a mailing that was supposed to go out to the school district that didn't go out, so we have to revote and represent the case back to P&Z and have another public hearing. I'm happy to present the staff report after we hold the public hearing for that. Thank you.
All right, sir, we appreciate it very much. We're going to go ahead and open up the public hearing at this time. It's going to be 6:07. I've got one commissioner that's going to abstain, Ms. Martinez. Okay. Any public speakers at this time?
Yes, sir. First public speaker would be Garrison Lewis.
Mr. Lewis, if you come up, state your name, your address, and you have your time.
Good evening, Board. My name is Garrison Lewis. I reside at 1312 Tucker Lane. I would like to speak to you this evening about how the zoning changes relates to our comprehensive plan. As the city has not voted on a new comprehensive plan yet, this change still falls under the old one in its current guidelines. While fundamentally I understand that we should go by the current guidelines, I believe ethically we should be looking and taking into account the new comprehensive plan that will be voted on and probably passed in about 2 weeks. The current future land use has this land allocated as neighborhoods. You'll see I have a map there for you to kind of keep up with the new plan and the stuff going on there in case you're not very familiar with it. So the future land use is allocated for neighborhoods with no other descriptions, definitions, or guidelines. Since it is imminent that the city will get a new comprehensive plan with a new future land use map, any ideas for the future land use are now obsolete. I believe we should be looking at the future land use as defined in the new plan that will ultimately be in place well before dirt is even touched on this development. The city has said or will say that this development is compliant with the new comprehensive plan. This is simply not true. The new plan has the development labeled as low-density housing. Luckily for us, the new plan is more detailed than the old one and defines low-density housing as less than 4 houses per acre. This zoning change is for 18.49 acres, which should be compliant with the new comprehensive plan, would mean 55 houses. They have proposed almost double that amount. With this special session being called and it already being announced that it will be voted on at the next city council, it sure does appear that the city is trying to push it through before the new comprehensive plan goes into action because they know that it goes against it. This is a slap in the face to the board and the many volunteer citizens that have worked countless hours compiling the new comprehensive plan. After all, the comprehensive plan is put together with what the citizens of this city want. It is the citizens' recommendation that you do not allow this or any other changes that go against the new comprehensive plan to go into effect since we're so close to the new one being solidified. Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time, sir. Any further at this time?
Yes, the next speaker that we have is Krista Lewis.
All right, Ms. Lewis, same thing. Come on, state your name, your address, and you have your time.
Hello, my name is Krista Lewis. I live at 1312 Tucker Lane in Kennedale. I'm here to speak on PZ case number 24-11. The current proposed zoning changes to planned development or PD. However, according to UDC 9.2, Section C, in order for a developer to use the PD zoning, they need to have at least 4 recognizable benefits in their plan. I do see that they have number 7 off that list, which is the provision of open space or public plazas or features by adding a couple of small open spaces in a small pocket park. But this is the only benefit I see according to their plan. If we are following the UDC, they should not be allowed to zone it to PD. In addition, calling a special meeting to order before the next city council meeting where the new comprehensive plan will be voted on is really strange. Whereas if this was not a special meeting and this were on the next P&Z meeting's agenda, the new comprehensive plan would have been voted on and likely approved. So I'm suggesting you consider the new comprehensive plan when voting tonight. The new comprehensive plan does not allow for this amount of homes in this location and is not laid out as PD. The new plan has many citizen volunteers' input, and a lot of money was spent by the city to design and lay it out. This plan calls for the particular area to be low density. Low density in the new comprehensive plan calls for no more than 4 houses per acre and considers the lot to be estate-style lots. Approving this as PD would be a kick in the face to those volunteers who spent so much time on this plan and a letdown to every citizen as their tax money was used to come up with this plan. To be clear, as neighbors, we are not against a development going into this area, but it does need to be done correctly and it does need to be what the city needs and desires. According to our own city's UDC code and comprehensive plan, the proposed zoning change and development does not fit the city's needs or desires. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Any further speakers at this time?
Yes, sir. We have one more speaker by the name of Rachel Niblo.
Good evening, man. Just step up there, speak your name, your address, and you have your time.
Hi, my name is Rachel Niblo, and my address is 1328 Collett Sublet Road. And I'm speaking on behalf of the HOA for Magnolia Hills. I am on their current board. We agree with everything that was said previously. To be clear, we are not against a new development. We were very pleased to see that that added street was there, but we're concerned about the lot sizes based on that comprehensive plan that they talked about and just the amount of homes going into that space. The reality of it is we live in homes right now that are very close together. These lot sizes are smaller than the ones that we have currently, and the street, we've had issues with our streets. We know that there are no parking signs that are going to be going up from what I've heard in the next few weeks or at some point. I was asked where we would like to put those no parking signs because they can't get in fire trucks. Our streets and the homes are really close together, which means we have parking issues already, and we have to now tell people that, hey, the parking is, you can't park at certain areas. So we're just concerned about what's this going to look like with another community? Is it going to be done right? We're squeezing a lot of people into a small space. Like they said, it's less than 4 houses per acre at this point. So while we were very pleased to see that there was a street, we do have concerns with what this development will look like because of the amount of homes, which is actually more than the amount of homes that we have in our space. That's it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Any further speakers?
Ms. Esri, did you want to speak? We did have one more that was registered opposed.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll remember you again. All right. Staff, can you give a presentation again real quick? Now, one thing I'm specifically looking at is, on this particular one, I do not see really the, I don't see it R zone at all on here, on this printout. Where's that located on your?
I'm sorry, in our zone?
Yeah, because you've got it down as a planned proposal for planned development, but are we looking at R1, 2, 3? I think that seems to be the.
Oh, so the base zoning would be based off of R4, but it's not straight zoning. So that the purpose of the planned development is for the city to consider alternative zoning or alternative developments that don't fit within the 4 boxes of our R1, 2, 3, and 4, but within the planned development language. Which is typical in a planned development. It always calls out, hey, what the base zoning is, or let's say this was like Town Center, for example. Good example, planned development. It says, hey, any uses that are permitted within the C2 district, per se, would be allowed here in addition to this. And so the planned development for this, the Enclave, which is different than Magnolia Hills, says essentially the same thing. What's permitted in R4 could continue with exception of everything that's spelled out within the planned development. And so that's where you get the differences in lot sizes, architectural controls, landscaping, those types of things. Right now, if this was just straight R4 zoning, the city's current UDC actually exempts any residential districts from our landscape requirements that are in that big old book, right? And so how do we put that in there? We add that into the plan development. So that's, if that answers your question, sir.
Right, and I'm just trying to clarify that with the understanding of the folks that spoke. It seems to be that, again, the statement was there's no pushback as far as a development there. It's just the concern of the size. In the language, it does speak up to 95 homes in that location. Now, is that something that sits on the current plan, or is that just a limit up to 95 based on R4?
The limit would be 95. Of course, when you go through engineering, things could change. So that number, and actually one of the conversations we've had is that number may come down based on how engineering determines, right? So if they need to provide more drainage, if they need to provide more green space, things of that nature, that number would obviously come down, but it won't exceed that 95. Now, if I could speak to lot sizes, and the conditions that are in Magnolia Hills aren't going to be the conditions in this different development. For example, the streets. So early on, we knew that was an issue with Magnolia Hills, and we're trying to find a solution for that doesn't inconvenience half of one street. I don't know of a reasonable answer that wouldn't inconvenience half of the street, because the streets are different in Magnolia Hills. In the enclave, they are wider, so they're 31 feet curb to curb, whereas in Magnolia Hills, that's not the case. And we did that on purpose because that's what we had right next door. We wanted to make sure that we had an additional egress point out on Kennedale Sublet, because that was a point raised in the previous attempts to rezone this property for development. Previously, it was just an additional 2 streets. It was sort of like a mirror image of what's there today, and everybody's still dumping out onto Collette Sublet, right? And so that was a big concern, particularly for the people that live on Collette Sublet. So now we have a additional egress point onto Kennedale Sublet, and we're also tying into the vineyards to the south. So what that does is that improves mobility for people, give people different options to get in and out of a neighborhood. That actually increases response times for public safety when you can create a grid structure within a community, particularly an existing neighborhood. Right now, if you go down Kennedale Sublet Road, just like New Hope Road and a lot of other roads in town, you got a main stretch road, and then you got all these cul-de-sacs, right? There's no interconnectivity. So the idea in planning is that, hey, let's start connecting some of these streets together. So you'll see that in Magnolia Hills, where one of the things they got right, is where they stubbed out to any potential development further on. Right? And so this is where now we're able to connect those particular streets and improve mobility, improve connectivity, improve walkability in the area, right? So now people have a longer options to traverse the community per se, right? With that though, there has to be some give and take, right? So if I'm going to if I only got a finite amount of width and I'm dedicating a portion of it to the city, right? I'm saying, hey, I'm going to build you a road that's this big. That means the lot sizes will shrink. Lot depth will shrink in this one. So right now in Magnolia Hills, they are crammed together. I mean, it's normal in development. I haven't fielded any drainage complaints from anybody since I've been here. But a 50-foot lot by, I think it's 110, 125, depending on the neighborhood, is pretty common. Here, we actually have wider lots. So a majority of this development are 60 plus, whereas Magnolia Hills, you're right at 50. And it's uniform, so everything is the same. Here we have a variety. We have 50s next to 60s, then there's some 70s mixed in, and what that does is that provides a little bit more elbow room. So if this thing gets built, right, it's not going to appear as, like they've said, close together. There's going to be a little bit more elbow room between the homes. So that was one of the things that we looked at when discussing the conditions of this planned development. And so, yes, the lot sizes aren't as deep, but there's still plenty of pad sizes out there, homes that can be built on these particular lots and still have a less dense appearance. In some cities, they're building on 35 and 40-foot lots. In today's market, single-family home. I mean, these are top of the line builders building on a 40-foot home. Here, 60 is if I can, that's even a challenge, right? To get that. The R4, the smallest lot today that you can build is a 70-foot lot, 70 by 100. And so with this, Majority of them are going to be 60. There are some 50s in there as well. And that's where we were able to kind of give sort of like find that middle ground. By getting the wider streets, the meandering sidewalks, we had to kind of reduce the lot depths. As far as density goes, the way it works in our world is I have to base everything on what you have adopted today. Now, I'm not sure that the comp plan will be adopted in 2 weeks. I could assume things to have occurred in Kennedale, and that didn't pan out as I assumed, right? And so I anticipate there's going to probably be some more discussion, some more refinement, right? But when it comes to what the future land use goes when it comes to housing, that's a big part of the comp plan, of this new comp plan. The current comp plan says neighborhoods, and it does actually specify what specific types. Right now, it allows for single family, it allows for duplex, townhome within those neighborhoods. It also allows for multifamily, right? So, this could have been a townhome development. This could have been a multifamily. Would that be consistent with the current comp plan? Yes. Here we have a single family development. The community survey that the city put out and conducted, the community said we want more single family, but we want we want entry level. We need middle housing. We also want to see some custom homes. And because when you have a planned development and you can mix up the lots, that's how you're able to provide those entry-level housing or middle housing or custom homes. This development actually offers all three because of the variety of the lot sizes. A 40-foot lot today is in DFW is probably going to run you about 110, 120 on a 40-foot lot. In development, they're not really building half-acre lots. So the estate-style lots, that's not what was today as it was 10, 15 years ago per se, right, in the DFW area. And so with that, our future, even considering development that we have in review, development discussions that we have going on, considering the future comp plan that we got coming, yes, we want to be consistent with that as well. And the easiest way I can go to describe what's coming in the new comp plan is we've tried to simplify what housing means in Kennedale, right? Low density, medium density, high density. Instead of having these other fancy planning terms, low density, single family housing, right? Within low density, you could even have duplex housing, right? Medium density. What is medium density? That's townhomes, right? Those are row homes. And then high density. High density in this new comp plan that's coming isn't high density that you see in Arlington, Mansfield, or Fort Worth, or anywhere else, because of the limits that Kennedale has placed on what high density is. High density we're going to call multifamily in this new comp plan. Well, the density set today is 12 units an acre. I mean, that's not dense at all when you consider multifamily. That's actually pretty basic for townhome development. And so council has said, and changing the standards in town, that, hey, we really don't want to be too dense in town. When you don't get more than 12 units an acre for multifamily, I don't know a lot of developers that will probably entertain building something like that. You drive up and down the corridors here in DFW, you see these large multifamily, very nice complexes, high dollar, right next to nice shopping centers, lofts, apartments, things of that nature. You don't see any more two-story apartment buildings. You have them around town. Those are the older apartments that you see that were built back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. But today you just don't see those in new housing or new multifamily housing. So just to be clear, we have considered the future land use plan in that, and then we consider single family, and then with this in particular, having the wider lots and things of that nature, that we have met the intent of the future land use plan, but right now our reviews are based off the current plan. So with that, we do have the applicant here that has a presentation. If you guys want to see that again, they can present that as well. I'm happy to answer any more questions that you may have.
Mr. Chairman, can you call the public hearing and the time, please?
Yes, that was at 6:15.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you mentioned the community survey. Could you briefly describe what the people of Kennedale wanted and their vision that they expressed in the survey in terms of the desire for more entry-level and custom single-family residence homes? Just a brief recap.
Sure, they were even across the board. So the community survey is up on the website. We've had it up there for quite some time that can be reviewed. We're happy to include that in the presentation to council. And we've done that in some other projects. And so the community has said, we want more single-family housing in town, but we want more entry-level. It was just as much as the custom homes in town. So, but it's up to Kennedale to decide what entry-level is. Is this development going to be entry-level? Perhaps on the 50-foot lots in today's world, that would be entry-level. But I'll tell you, when I came aboard, Magnolia Hills was finishing up. They had about 6, 7 houses that hadn't been completed yet. We're still in various stages of construction. So I got to see what those went in and got to see what those sold for. I wouldn't necessarily call those entry-level. But in today's market, entry-level isn't the same like it was when I first bought my home in the Great Recession of '08. I got a good deal back then, but if I'd have held on to it a little longer, I'd have made a little bit more money. But again, this planned development, we've taken that into account, try to improve mobility, egress, parks, open space, with trying to find that middle ground.
And maybe the developer could answer the question as well, but the developer also mentioned a new park, a potential park that they also wanted to include with the construction of the neighborhood, or in addition to the wider streets. And has the developer expressed anything about a new park, like whether it'll include like a duck pond or extra amenities in the park?
Well, this will have what is more of a linear park on this side, and then it's a sensory park, as what we've been talking to the developer about. And what that is, that would be unique in Kennedale. We don't have one of those in town, and those are kind of new to the market. But those are kind of more low impact, quieter, not a pocket park, but they are a park designed for children and people with special needs, where they, families that have family members that have special needs, they don't like to take their kids to, the larger park systems, because they're pretty chaotic and hectic and things like that. So they're trying to find a more tranquil spot. So that's one of the things that we've put into the planned development. There are some green open spaces that also serve. When you see green open spaces in neighborhoods, those serve two purposes. They provide a little break between blocks, but they also often serve as a drainage outflows for sheet flow. And so Magnolia Hills, right on Tucker, there's about 2 strips of open space. One's about the size of a lot, really, in today's market. You could probably build a house on it. They probably wouldn't allow that, but it also serves as drainage. So with that, they've incorporated some areas, and those may have to increase, right? Those may change. Right now, you're dealing with concept plans, so that's pretty normal in development. As you deal with concept plans, here's how we imagine we're going to lay that out. Here's the property that we have reserved for this development, and there's space in between, right? So if the road has to go a little bit more this way because of certain topography, drainage, utility easements, things like that, it allows for that flexibility.
And the park, would this park be accessible to the residents of Magnolia Hills subdivision and to the Barnyard subdivision, or is this park only open to the new neighborhood?
I imagine it'll be HOA maintained, but it'll be opened as a public park. So it'll be it wouldn't be the city that would take over the park per se, to like over the maintenance, which is pretty normal in subdivisions. It'll be HOA maintained. Magnolia Hills has a small park there as well. In fact, most of their green space is devoted towards a dry pond, right? It's just a big gully that collects stormwater. But is it anybody that's in that neighborhood could use it.
Did it mention a playground at all? In the,
There's provisions in the plan development to allow for that. Again, if that's something that the sensory park, there's a lot of different things on the market right now to, I like the term jungle gym, you know, but there's a variety of different ones that are out there that could be installed there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I think that includes all we needed to hear. As far as the developer, did any of you want to recap with them? If he wants to speak, he's more than welcome to.
Just a couple of points that sort of changed since last time.
Oh, yeah. Come on up then.
Carl Crawley, 2201 Main Street, Dallas, Texas. The only points I wanted to bring, because it's been only a couple of weeks, right, or something like that. We had worked with, after discussions the last and stuff, there were some issues about construction access, and we worked with the staff, and we are requiring of ourselves, and staff would have required of us anyway, but we're codifying it, I guess, in the PD, that during construction, until all of our utilities and streets are accepted, we're not going through, be barricaded from Magnolia. We're just going to use our access points and things. That was a concern of theirs. It was already brought up about the street widths, and I think we talked about that last time. We're going to have wider streets, so it makes it a little easier to move around. But Nathan already said about the lot sizes, and I think the spacing of those green spaces also break that up. We've tried to put those green spaces next to the narrower lots, the 50-foot wide lots, if at all possible. So then you have a bigger gap between those and stuff. And our setbacks on our 60-foot lots are wider so that it doesn't have that cramped sort of feeling and stuff. Nathan mentioned a 40-foot lot or something at 120,000. I'd like to find those because they're probably at 250,000 in the Metroplex. Starter homes now probably, sad unless you want to go to Oklahoma, and I do mean go far north, are probably in the upper threes now, which is, I have 3 kids that can't afford homes, so I know the hurt they're feeling now too. But there'll be a variety of lot sizes and therefore home sizes and therefore prices in this. So hopefully we could catch some of that starter market. It's difficult now to catch the starter market, it really is, and it's sad for younger people now to get a home that way. So otherwise, we're here to answer any questions. The drainage, the drainage issues, we've talked about it. I think the likelihood of 95 lots is probably going to be reduced, and I think the developer agrees with that. When we get into the engineering and stuff, there's a lot of wiggle room in there. So 95 is probably not even a best case, is probably not even a scenario. It's probably more in the 92 range, if not 90 range. So, and that then provides more green space. So otherwise, developers here, I'm here to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Do you plan on staggering the sizes themselves to assist in given that, I'm going to call it an illusion, but what it is between them? So, I mean, if you have something that is a 50 and then maybe stagger it with a 60 and a 70 on the other side.
And if the site plan is very small and very hard to read, but that has how it's set up. There are A, B, and C lots. And let's say, and I don't have memorized, let's say the A's are 50s. There may be 2 A's next year, but then there'll be a C, a 60, and a 55. So yes, that's the whole idea, that you won't get a whole row of 50s. You may get a couple of 50s next to each other just because that's the way it comes out. But there may then be a green space, a drainage easement or a utility easement next to it, so that it doesn't look like they're all 5-foot setbacks next to each other. So it's even set up in this concept plan. This will be an A, this will be a B, this will be a C, this will be an A. So then you do have that staggering. It's not like I have a large subdivision of hundreds of acres where I have all the 40-foot lots over here and all the 50s and all the 60s. We've mixed them all up in there, so.
Same with elevations, I'm assuming.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And the PD conditions have those types of things along with the landscaping and the meandering sidewalks and stuff.
Do you have any model pictures of the new development with the
I think it actually is in your docket material, I thought at least.
Okay, what about one that's handy to put up on the screen?
I don't know, do you have your docket on the screen? No, I don't think I have elevations, I'm sorry, in my stuff.
No problem.
Was any discussion amongst the board at this time?
Oh, I do have one question, but it might be a little off topic. But what does the city have any, say, tax credit offered to home developers, say, for them to develop houses and for them to meet certain regulations or certain, say, I guess, whatchamacallit?
Not for home
Requests.
I know there was some out there for commercial, industrial, or thought process as far as the facades, but I don't believe there's anything out there for home.
No, we don't have anything like that, I think, here in Kennedale per se.
Oh, okay. Because two that were on my mind were perhaps a tax credit for the citizens of Kendall if they wish to purchase a second home, like a tax credit in that aspect, or another tax credit offered to developers, say if the city wants houses on bigger lots, whether there will be a tax incentive available to the developer to incentivize them to build houses on bigger lots. I was just wondering.
Not with this particular one, you may be referring to like a PID, public, investment, development, PIDs, and there's other types of mechanisms out here. This isn't one of those, but there's first-time home buyer credits and tax credits out there, and so we certainly would welcome folks to come look at Kennedale and buy a home. I know the folks there in Magnolia Hills did that a couple years ago, and we would love to have them in town, so, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, anything further? All right, well, at this time, I'd go ahead and like to get a motion to consider approval on case PZ 24-11.
A motion we approve.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All right, all in favor? All opposed? And all others with the same likeness? All right, so we have one abstain, 4 approve. I just want to add just a quick note on that. This is considered based on today's plans versus what we understand is going to be in the future. So those may drastically change depending on what is approved prior to, or if anything's shelved or anything changes. So let you guys know that. That's all I had. We'll move on to the second one, PZ case 2413, to conduct a public hearing and consider replat of Block 1, Lot 1R1 of the Soto Addition Block 1, Lot R1R of the Sather Edition and the track 8 of the Prickett Jacobs Survey Abstract 1225 to create lots 1R1 and 2, Block A, in the Sather Edition totaling approximately 3.097 acres located in the city of Kennedale, Texas. Any opening staff?
Yes, so this is right across the street from us. Property there that's been on the market longer than I think I've been here. So it's been on the market for probably 2+ years. And those homeowners have decided to, it's made up of 3 parcels today. One of the parcels is landlocked behind the home that faces Corey A. Edwards. And the other parcel has a outlet or a 50-foot lot off of 3rd Street. And so what they're going to do is, with this replat, is they've taken the home and they've put it on its own lot, right? Because they may continue living there, they may continue just selling the home, and then they've combined the rest of that back acreage into one, consolidated it into one lot, and it'll have frontage off of 3rd Street. And I think they have a buyer for that, wants to build, I think, a single-family home in the back area, so they'll put a drive that goes all the way to the back. That's what we've been told. And so we've reviewed it, send it off for review. It meets all our zoning requirements, and so we recommend approval of the replat.
So in essence, we're going to be able to mitigate that landlocked situation by replatting.
Correct. Yeah, and we've recommended that to them for some time. They were just waiting on, a buyer. And so they've finally secured one, and we're happy for them. We will need to have open up a public hearing as well for that too.
Get into that, sir.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and open that public hearing at 6:42. Is there any speakers signed up?
None at this time, sir.
Okay, is anybody in the audience that wants to speak? Is there anything you want to say? I mean, you're good? All right. All right, if there's no speakers at this time, 6:43 will close. And I'll go ahead and take a motion to approve case 2413.
Motion we approve.
All right, a second, please.
I second the motion.
All right, all in favor? All right, with a unanimous, all in favor, no opposed, ma'am? And at this point, there's no need to go into an executive session for anybody, I'm assuming? Okay. Well, that's the case. I then like to take a motion to adjourn.
Motion we adjourn.
Second?
I second the motion.
Now she speaks up. All right, all in favor? Unanimous to adjourn at 6:44. Thank you very much for everybody attending.